What's up, guys? It's JZNES back again with another video here. Today we're talking about Breath of the Wild DLC 1 and 2. And now I can finally say everything I was trying to say in the last video. You know, about the DLC and whatever. So, I guess we'll start with DLC 1, which I don't really have as much to say about. I don't really have a lot to say about all of it, but we'll start there. The first DLC basically just gives you, both of them give you new costumes and stuff. I don't remember which ones are exclusive to which, but I think you get the Majora's Mask, which like lets you not get hit by enemies and stuff until you like start attacking them, which is helpful. I think you get like the Korok Seed Mask or whatever. Maybe that's DLC 2, I don't remember. You get a transporter thing, so like, it's a warp point basically. It's in one of the labyrinths, which is kind of cool, which I already finished obviously because I was in the post game. But yeah, they give you that, so you can basically put a warp point down anywhere, like on the map, like anywhere. So that's really helpful. So that criticism I had last time about like there was a certain area at the top of the map I was trying to get to all of the time. I could have just set that warp point there had I downloaded this earlier or whatever. So recommended that you get the DLC and maybe go to that that labyrinth and just try to get through it as quick as possible, and then get that warp pad. So it'll make your game a lot easier. Is the idea. And that's kind of a little bit of the problem, is that, like, I wish I'd had a lot of these features in the main game, because by the time I get them, they're kind of useless. So yeah, there's this one in particular that you get at the very end of the second DLC that doesn't... We'll talk about that in a second. So, yeah, so you get a bunch of little things like that. You get, like, the Tingle outfit, and, you get, like, a Phantom outfit, like, from Wind Waker. So it's a lot of aesthetic referential stuff. And all this is like pretty good gear, like the Tingle outfit lets you run faster and stuff. But like, they're all just neutered versions of stuff you can get in the main game and upgrade, because all this stuff that you get from the DLC you can't upgrade, which really sucks. So the Phantom armor is just like a worse version of the Barbarian armor. But it's all about aesthetic. If you wanted to, you know, do some kind of no upgrades challenge run or something, you could do that with that armor, or some of the other armors, you know, stuff like that. That's kind of stuff you get in DLC 1. And then the main meat of DLC 1, aside from the extra addables kind of there, is this thing called the Trial of the Sword. That's what the DLC is called, the Trial of the Sword. You go back to where you picked up the Master Sword in the forest there, you put the Master Sword back in, and basically you get warped into these trials. So these trials are essentially like, you get, it's Eventide Island rules, where you go in without your gear, and you have to scavenge for gear. So on each level of the trials, it's kind of like VR missions, except like you're carrying on your gear throughout, sort of thing. But they set up a scenario for you that they want you to kind of figure out the best way to get through. The OP strats for it are definitely bombs, are like super helpful, and then also the stasis power is really helpful. But they also test you by like making you use all the other powers too, except for like Magnesis. I haven't really used that much. I guess you could use that to like pick up the boxes and like hit the guys and stuff like that. That'd be pretty helpful. Sometimes most of the boxes I find you can't pick up though, so it is what it is. But anyway, and there'll be like little hidden secrets, like it's not really a secret, but I didn't realize it until like maybe 10 or so times going through this. On like level 3 or 4, there's like a little ledge that usually you would shoot down with like a fire arrow or something, and by this point they haven't given you fire arrows. So what you need to do is, there's fire choo-choos in there, and you need to get them to go over there to create an updraft, so you can updraft up there, and you'll get a boomerang and like one other thing up there. which is super helpful. So, I mean, not super helpful, but it's helpful enough. Anyway, so there's a lot of little cool things like that. I mean, it's a good idea on paper. What the problem is you only get one life. So once you run out of all of your hearts, and I have full hearts, remember, but even that is not enough to really get through. So it's actually the most challenging part of the entire game is this fucking DLC sword trial thing. I only got to like level 11. There's like the mini boss fights in there too, which are like the bosses you fight out in the overworld and stuff. So that's cool. It's a cool concept. It's just, if you die, you go all the way back. So having to do it again and again and again just kind of sucks. There's 40 levels. There's like 3 checkpoints. There's one after level 12. And then you do another 16 levels. And then you do another 20-something levels or whatever. So it's a lot, you know, like... But if I really wanted to sit there and spend my time, I could probably get to the end, but I just said fuck it. I'm over that. I'm over this game. I like this game, but I don't want to burn myself out. I mean, I'm pretty much burned out already. I want to go back to playing something like Life is Strange or something easier like that, where it's just more about what decision do you make kind of thing. Something more simple and less action-y, I guess. I don't know. Or just something different. I need anything but Zelda right now. I played every Zelda game. I'm a little burnt out. I do want to play Hyrule Warriors and Age of Calamity before the next game comes out because, you know, like, there might be some detailage in there that I might need to know for Tears of the Kingdom, or it might endear me more to the characters or something. And who knows if the champions are even going to really be a big thing in the next game. I mean, I kind of hope their powers return, which I don't think they probably will, but that'd be pretty cool, because I really like those powers that they each give after you defeat their dungeons. But anyway, it's about the DLC. So, also, yeah, you can't use the powers in there, so your infinite, or not infinite, like your free revive isn't going to work. There is a ferry, like, somewhere in there. They give you, like, this little rest stop where you can pick up items and stuff. But it's like, I could never get the ferry. It's an interesting concept. It's like an endurance test. I like it on paper, but it's just too challenging for me to keep sitting there and wanting to retry and retry and retry. And I can't imagine the next part's going to get any easier. It's actually supposed to get harder. Therefore, 16 levels of even harder stuff, and then I could die at any point and blah, blah, blah. I'm fine. I tried a bunch of times. I'm okay. I don't need to do that anymore. Time to move on, right? So, DLC 1, pretty okay. You know, some of the referential stuff. It's nice because they, like, hide a lot of those chests for the new stuff out in the world in, like, spots you may have not visited much before. So that was kind of cool. It's like a little treasure hunt. It was fun, but it's, like, just, like, you know... None of these items are really super useful to me. They feel like more like items they give you at the beginning of the game, and they become useful because you're just starting out, kind of thing. So, yeah, so there's that. That's DLC 1. DLC 2, however, is more of like a story-focused, less challenge-based DLC. Oh yeah, so the reward for DLC 1, if you are to finish that massive gauntlet of bullshit, is your Master Sword is always at 60 power, and it, like, doesn't wear out as fast or something. I don't know. Anyway, it would have been cool, but, whatever, you know, like, whatever. I actually think the rewards for the second DLC are better. So, in the second DLC, you have this, like, new mission to go back around to all of the areas. Like, well, at first it starts off really shitty. Because you start off, this monk's like, return to the Great Plateau and go to the Shrine of Resurrection where you started the game, and I'll give you a new challenge. So you start off on the Great Plateau, and his fucking challenge is, here, take this thing that kills everybody in one hit. So I'm like, alright, that sounds pretty cool. But you don't get any hearts. You only get one hit yourself. And I'm like, alright, that's kind of shitty, but alright. But then you go out into the world... And so you just die in one hit, and it's super frustrating because they Because then they want you to go and kill all these camps of enemies and stuff to open these shrines. And it's just a really big fucking pain in the ass. And doing it and not only having one hit. It's like a worse... It's like an even worse and harder version of the sword... The Trial of Swords or whatever. Because you don't get any hits. You just get one hit and then you're dead. And then you have to do everything again. You know, kind of thing. So that's pretty shitty. And they intentionally make it really hard on you. And your thing doesn't just stay, like, focused or whatever. You get, like, a couple of hits with it, and then it, like, wears out. And then you have to wait for it to, like, come back again. So, like, if you could go out there and you had infinite, you just had one hit capabilities on everything and nothing wore out, and you didn't have to kind of wait for it to come back or whatever, like the fact that they already give you one heart to do, like, part of a heart anyway. You get one hit to do anything, and then you're gonna make the weapon not able to be used all of the time. Like, fuck off with that. Fuck off with that. That's sadistic and cruel right there. And you can't really, like, I mean, you're supposed to go and sneak around and stuff, I guess. But I didn't pick up the stealth gear. I talked about this in my last video. I actually didn't pick up the stealth gear until afterwards. I didn't even think about it. I didn't want to leave because I was already, you know, into the trial of Fairway. So it's just like, whatever. And then they have these shrines where you can still only take one hit. So any shrine where you can take one hit is bullshit to begin with. So those are already hard. But then they have the balls to go in there and put one of the shrines is full of guardians. The small guardians, but still, if you take one hit, you're fucking dead. So it's super frustrating. Luckily, they don't come back, except for in, like, the last room, they all come back every time you die. But, like, the earlier ones don't come back or whatever, so that's kind of nice. At least I think so, anyway. I guess they might all come back. I don't know. I feel like there was one... At least the first one doesn't come back, and you could just, like, jump down the hole again and go through the thing. But anyway. Yeah, so that's bullshit, and I kind of hated that. But the one I hated the most, this is my most hated shrine. And I watched this guy, I think it was Zeltic or something, put all of the shrines and rank them. And he actually ranked this one pretty high. And I'm like, fuck that. This is the worst shrine. You have one hit. And they had the audacity, the fucking nerve to design a dungeon, a shrine that is, where... they're gonna put spikes on the floor everywhere and make these, like, bullshit platforms that you would, like, you have no chance of getting across. And, you know, like, the jumping in this game isn't that precise, and usually if you fall and hit spikes or something, it's not a big deal. You just kind of get hurt a bunch of times. But you have one hit. Honestly, you know what? Fuck that, actually. No. I don't know any other spot in the fucking game, and you can feel free, tell me down in the comments. There's like a million spots or whatever. I don't know one other goddamn spot in the game outside of, like, some, like, rotating platform things or something where there were spikes on the fucking floor. They did this just intentionally to be cruel. They designed, like, extra tall spikes just to fuck with me. So you get through that part, and then the next part is, like, even more bullshit. And it's like, there's spikes on the sides and stuff, so you're trying, and they have these gears that are intentionally, like, pushing you towards the spikes. It's like, you're gonna die, motherfucker. And it's like, you know, and you can, like, freeze the gears or whatever, but your stasis power only works for so long. And then they have these ones where spikes are coming in from the sides or whatever after that, and you have to run down this narrow path that's, like, what do they call it? A conveyor belt that, like, goes towards one of the sides of the spikes. So you have to do that. And then after that, there's a part where these spikes balls are like, swinging across this, like, bottomless gorge that when you fall in, you basically die because you have one heart, that you have to, like, you know, glide across or whatever. So that's one. Just think of all of these ways. I've said, like, 4 little sections here. Think of all the ways you could die. You know, you touch the side of a spike or something, you die. You touch anything, you fucking die. You die, you die, you die, you die, 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 die. It is. It's really like a fucking AVGN moment here. It's like, god damn it, what the fuck is wrong? What the fuck is wrong with these game designers, right? Like, you know, it's Spider-Man. Anyway, fucking, if that wasn't enough, you get to the final part where they have the fucking nerve to make a narrow fucking corridor where spikes come in and they come in all directions while a fucking spiky fucking Indiana Jones ass ball is chasing you. Or it's not even a ball. I think it's just like a wall behind you of spikes coming towards you. So you have to hurry through these like narrow platforms and they expect you to just like tiptoe around stuff, not fall. And I fail like a million times because it's not fucking easy. It's hard. And they intentionally designed it to be fucking horseshit. So that dungeon is the worst dungeon in the entire game. You know, I could be madder, or more mad, or whatever the fucking saying is there, but god damn, dude, like, it's just such bullshit. It's like, why would they do this to me, you know? So I had a really sour taste on the second DLC going in right away. Luckily, after that, it does get a little bit better. No one-hit things. You actually put the thing back in the Shrine of Resurrection, the Obliterator, I think it's called, and it just disperses, or whatever. So, on top of, like, having all those bullshit moments with it, you don't even get the option to, like, take this thing with you and use it. It just goes away. Not that I would use it, because it sucks, but the fuck, dude? Why would you have this part as part of the trial? Make this the last part of the trial, actually. Why does this have to be the first part? You come back to the Shrine of Resurrection to do another dungeon here in a bit, and why not just have it then, you know? Like, I feel like a lot of people probably got pissed off at the beginning of this DLC and said, no, I'm not doing it. You know? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just stupid or something. I don't know. But I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that's bullshit. The other part after that is you go to each of the areas, you know, the Rito and the Zora and the Gorons and the fucking Gerudo and whatever. And there's a couple of new shrines you have to do. You have to follow these clues that the champion left behind, basically. And you get a little bit more, you know, knowledge about them and their past and all of this stuff and blah, blah. And those are pretty cool. You know, you just kind of go around and look for each location that they're talking about. They introduced these new puzzles where you have to, like, go through rings. You know, Superman 64. But no, it's not so bad. They're, like, timed rings or whatever. And you keep following. It's kind of like the Koroks when you follow their rings or you follow the flower things or whatever, except it's timed. So there's like that, and then there's always like one where you have to just like do a certain thing and it'll show up, and then there's like, you know, there's a couple of them that are pretty interesting. They just kind of fill out the rest of the areas in the map that weren't like utilized super well before, I feel like. So that's nice. You fill out your map a little bit more. So but these shrines don't actually give you spirit orbs. So you get spirit orbs from the first couple of shrines there, which I never used, by the way. Fuck. Why did I use those to get more stamina? That would have been nice. So yeah, anyway. You just kind of go around and do stuff in the different areas. And then you get a cutscene of Zelda recruiting each champion. And gives you a little bit more personality there. Apparently the Goron guy is afraid of dogs. I mean, I think that's the one that I remember out of all of them. I don't think any of the other ones were, like, super memorable. Oh, the Gerudo lady, Urbosa or whatever, she, like, figures out these guys are Yiga people, and she, like, thunder, you know, strikes them or whatever, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Each of them has their own little thing going on there, and that was kind of cool. So you get an extra little cutscene with each of them. And then, you know, so it's just more dungeons and more shrines and stuff. The shrines are more like they utilize all of the runes better. So, like, all together. Like, most shrines were just usually based on, like, one rune. Now, these are, like, they're utilizing them all together. So that's pretty cool. I think that's neat. I mean, they're not like they're good, but they're not like the best tries. I don't know. They were all fine. You know, I don't really have much to report on in the shrines there. But they were all at least unique shrines and unique challenges. None of them were just like a blessing or a test of strength or something. There was the one on the Great Plateau that pretended to be a test of strength, but it wasn't. It was that one with all the guardians I was talking about. It was called Major Test of Strength, so I'm just like, oh, okay. But it wasn't. Yeah, so you just kind of you do a bunch of that, and that's all good. It's a little extra content, you know. After that, you get a scene of them all at Hyrule Castle, being together. You know, they're the new champions of Hyrule, and Link's there and stuff. And then you then you get called by the monk back to the Shrine of Resurrection again, and then he gives you another dungeon to do, which I think out of the dungeons, it was cool. I liked it. It was pretty straightforward. It's like basically 5 rooms, one like main room, and then they branch off into these 4 other little rooms that all open these locks or whatever. And the whole gimmick is you can switch the way the gears are going, right, left, and then you can like connect things to kind of get the rooms to move circularly and stuff. So yeah, not a bad gimmick. I thought it was a decent dungeon. I liked it well enough, you know. It's supposed to be like Link's divine beast or something, but it's not really like a beast. It's just like a UFO or something, right? Like, I don't know. It's like a big spiral, basically. And then once you get through that, you basically just, you fight the monk there at the end, and everyone's like, oh, that's super hard. It's like the hardest fight in the entire game. And it's like, I beat him on my first try. I don't get it. I don't get all the hype, you know. It was cool. It was a good fight. It just really wasn't that hard, you know. I mean, maybe I'm a little overpowered because I fucking finally started using my 78 power like Lionel Crusher thing or whatever I got off the Lionels, because I'm like, well, it's the final fight. I guess this is it. You know, like this is the time to use it. So, but he does a lot of unique things. He like splits himself up into like a million. He's probably like 10 or 15 of himself. Like he does the classic Poe trick from the Forest Temple or whatever. Like like the Poe lady who splits herself up into like 4 of them, and you have to figure out which one is the right one. I don't know if there is a way in this one to kind of tell, but you just kind of have to hit a bunch of them. But it's interesting. He's got like a guardian beam. He like grows big at one point. That was probably the easiest part. Dodging him. He had like the was it Thunderblight Ganon thing where he would like like zip through and stuff, and you kind of had to like dodge and attack and stuff. So that was kind of interesting. Yeah, there also was a callback to that same fight, because he would have these balls, big spiky balls that he would drop, and then he would electrocute them, and then you would just like lift them up to hit him, kind of thing. I don't know why he's so obsessed with Thunderblight Ganon. Like, I don't think he really... I mean, he had the beam, but like Guardians have the beam too. I mean, like Waterblight Ganon had the beam, but I don't know. Maybe he was meant to represent all of the bosses again, the Blight Ganons, but I don't know. Anyway, he had some of those powers of those. He's not that hard. He's not that hard. After all you've been through, the Obliterator part was much harder than this, So, after that, you get this thing, the Master Cycle. It's basically like a motorcycle. It's alright. Maybe that's like my whole hot take on this DLC is, everyone loves it. And I'm just like, yeah, it's alright. Like, I liked it. It was fine. It was more Breath of the Wild. That's good. That's fine. So this Master Cycle thing, you just kind of ride it throughout Hyrule or whatever, and it's pretty cool, but like, what am I going to do with it? It's the end of the game. What am I going to use it for? I get that it's like, that's Link's Divine Beast or whatever. Or maybe that's his, like, well, that's his, like, power, right? He gets a motorcycle or whatever. I don't know. Um, like, decent enough prize, but, like, at least you could do something with it, unlike the piece of shit from getting all the Koroks or the tunic, you know, of the wild or whatever they call it, the you know, like just the green tunic Link stuff or whatever. At least the Master Cycle like has something you could do. I don't know what you would use it for. Like, I'm pretty sure you have to beat the game before you can like do these trials, right? So like, would you be able to get it? I don't know if that's not true. Would you be able to get it beforehand? Like, could you even do all of that stuff beforehand to be able to get it so you could actually use it during the game? Like, that would be handy. I don't know. Or just make it like a new game plus kind of thing. They really needed something like that. Oh yeah, you also get Master Mode. I think for the first DLC, which like is a hard mode. Like, fuck that. I don't need that. I'm never gonna probably play that. That's maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it eventually. You know, the typical enemies do more damage and blah 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 and all that stuff. I don't know. I like to enjoy my video games. You know, thank you very much. So, um, yeah, but overall, I mean, like, it was fun. It was more Zelda. What did get me though, I liked the very ending. Kaz, who's been there the whole time, giving you little clues and hints. He sings you the champion's ballad, and then he shows you a picture that you all took, and there's this little cutscene of the little Sheikah technology lady. I can't remember her name. Anyway, uh, the one who gives you the camera. She's like ready to take your picture of you and the champions or whatever in Zelda, and there's all these like little kind of funny things. You know what? Here, I think here's what bothers me about the champions, right? We don't get a lot of moments of just seeing them. It's all about defeating Ganon. There's never any moments of just them hanging out. And this is like a moment of just them hanging out, you know? Like, they're all gonna take this picture together, and then, once she gets the perfect shot, it's like, oh, that's a nice picture, you know? So I felt that. I got a little emotion off of that. And I thought, oh, this is cool. We need more moments like this of them just being friends and hanging out and not worrying about Calamity Ganon, even though that's the whole reason they were brought together to begin with. I don't know. It just seems like that would have gone a lot farther to endear me to their characters. But I liked that. I liked that final cutscene. And you know, so overall, like, the DLC was good, and I liked it. I don't know if it was amazing. When I say you should get it, I would say, yeah, probably. It's if you liked Breath of the Wild, it's more Breath of the Wild, and, you know, so there's that. So, yeah. I mean, go for it, you know? It's good, it's fun, and, adds a little bit more to the game, you know? So, we'll see if it plays in at all to Tears of the Kingdom. But, you know, until next time, this is JZNES saying keep it classic. Stick around for more reviews, underrated games, and I'll see you guys in the next one. JZ out.